Welcome to Two's Company, Three's a Podcast, 2C3 Pod, as it's also known as, Newcastle's #1 film, TV and gaming podcast. My name is Dylan, as always, with my co-host,
Mitchell, and it's time for Wednesday's episode with the freshest news, and we're going to hit you with a review of a very obscure film this week.
Yes,
but
we
I think
are.
we're gonna. I don't know what I'm saying now. I'm getting confused. But
fourth time's a charm.
Exactly. We must be offering out athletic scholarships for our NCAA Division 1 school because it's time for 2C3 Pod, the year my mother was born.
It's fine, man. It's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Well, I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 5 shots or 6? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I kind of lost track myself. But being this is a Magnum 44, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off, you've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you?
Punk, Dirty Harry.
Yeah, man. Sorry, I know it was a long
hold
one,
on.
but...
Like, those movies are kind of set out in a way where... Squeeze my nipple for some reason. Those movies are set in a way where the names of them, it's like a book, like Dirty Harry is the author.
Yeah.
And then the name of the title of the movie is like something else.
Well, as far as I can see, it's just called Dirty Harry.
Oh, maybe it is from the... I could be completely wrong. It's been a billion years, if ever, since I've seen those movies.
Dirty Harry, 1971.
Yeah.
That's getting around, man. That's
Clint
old
Eastwood,
now.
man. You know, like... funny fact, I'm pretty sure I've said this on the podcast once before, but I share a birthday with Clint Eastwood.
Oh, do you really?
Different year, obviously.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I don't feel it sometimes, but I certainly do. Yeah.
I mean, he looks mid-20s.
I know, right? Like, I would love to have a beer with him. I'm sure he could
held together very well.
Absolutely.
But
anyway,
again, as I said, there's a theme this week, man.
Yes,
there's
there
a film
is.
coming out later in the week, and stay tuned for Friday's quote.
I know exactly what this is, but I'll forget in 10 minutes' time.
Yes, you
anyway, ripping straight in. Now, very recent...
Did we want to address the fact that we are 2C3 Pod and we are available on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, YouTube. Big Summer Blowout.
Yeah,
check us out on all socials as well. 2C3 Pod, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yes, absolutely. And what else do we have in the notes there? My mouse is up on the screen now. That's going to throw me out a little bit. Anyway, yes. Thank you very much to our Patreon supporter. We'll get onto our Patreon a little bit later on.
Producer.
But for now, producer Paula Lydiard, thank you very much. And that's everything on those notes. In this
pretty
regard.
much. Yeah.
But moving on.
Exactly.
Now, the first... quickly, I just want to address this.
Okay.
This is purely for the purely for the opposite of the listeners, the viewers. Now being on YouTube, of course.
That's right, you
and
do.
You may find us on Facebook as well if we say something funny enough throughout the episode, which we think is worth it.
And we have the time to clip it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. We've changed the angle a bit. We're on a diagonal sort of table now.
It's a bit more cozy.
It is very cozy,
Yes.
and it's a bit more forefronting, and I think it's a bit more professional too. I think it looks all right.
I enjoy this angle as well because, as you know, I still have my stupid mop of head. And with
Stupid mop of head. That's also a good episode name.
Stupid mop of head. There's plenty of them, man. But and without having to be turned completely to the right, you don't see all this stupid shit hanging down here. Whereas now, I'm basically facing the camera, and you can just see the moneymaker.
Hey, but as long as we're sitting on this angle of each other, because we need our good sides, our tattooed sides.
Exactly,
facing,
that's right.
Because when we set it up on the opposite side a few months ago,
and
it was so boring.
That was the first setup, and we had the fucking cupboard doors as the background, and the way it was looked. And as soon as we finished that episode, we were just looking back at a little bit, and we both went, "Yeah, we need to switch this."
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't look right.
That wasn't our first
Recording?
episode with the recording video, was it?
Yeah,
it
was because I remember the videos there on YouTube of
check 'em out.
Guns Akimbo. There was that short one, and Apple TV, Apple Plus or whatever was coming
Superman
out.
Returns, something else. I remember I was all about clipping these smaller segments to make separate YouTube videos, but that takes so long. And
not only that,
listen to the podcast.
Not only that, but I mean appreciation for your thumbnails as well. And you go all out making these awesome thumbnails. And there's just so much going on that we're just so busy in that. But I mean, we've got business ventures moving forward in that. We're looking at a big year this year.
Yes.
So make sure to head on over to the YouTube page or look out on the socials for a clip. But we've changed the layout.
Yes, we do.
And the new studio is feeling a lot more studio-y. This blank background, we'll be getting some colour soon.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, and as you mentioned just a second ago before we rip into the news this week, is that we're looking to expand the podcast in a sort of a bigger way this year. Now, what we mean by that is that we're looking to become essentially a non-traveler or traveler podcast studio. So if you would like to produce a podcast, anybody who's listening to this who wants to produce a podcast who doesn't either have the money or time to go out and get all the gear and doesn't want to, and wants somebody who is willing to do that and
already
produce it for you and provide you all the audio and video services you want for your podcast, hit us up at twoscompany3podcast@gmail.com or on our social media. We definitely have pricings that are affordable for that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can
you've
make
got
time
two guys
to produce
here
it for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And we've got two guys here who love doing this stuff. And I mean, Dylan's a maestro with the audio and I'm getting better with the video. So, no, absolutely. Yeah, twoscompany3podcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely. But the Academy Awards.
Yes.
Yes, you eat your vitamin C, you healthy motherfucker.
Well, thank you. We need a jar or a bowl of those in here.
Yeah, so you usually have like a bowl of lollies.
Exactly. A bowl of vitamin C.
Vitamin C chewable tablets, because that's where it's at, because they're delicious.
They're as good. And I'll say this to anyone: they're as good as any lolly on the market.
Like I was about to say, no, they're better. But the only reason I'm thinking that is because I'm not a huge fan of lollies. I'm a chocolate guy. I will happily eat like a full block of chocolate before I eat like one strawberry jello thing that looks like a pile of oil. Like, ugh.
Do you like the chocolate that is orange? Like orange chocolate?
A handful of times I've tried it. I can think of yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Imagine that, but vitamin C.
Ooh. Oh, shit. Hollywood, hit us up.
Again, every week we tell
pharmaceutical companies, come on, man.
That's right. Every week we tell our bosses we quit because we've just stumbled onto gold.
And then we turn up on Monday and go, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm back.
exactly. Then we turn up on Monday. Yeah.
But
I mean, if you want to.
Every week my desk is cleared for me, so they definitely want me gone.
Yeah, but if you wanted to help us quit our jobs, twoscompany3podcast@gmail.com. We are available on PayPal and Patreon.
Absolutely. Check out the links below. Yes, anyway.
As you said, I said,
yes.
The Oscars has happened. It happened Monday, our time here in Australia.
Yes, the Academy Awards certainly did.
Yeah? What, did I say something wrong?
You said Oscars? Are they the same thing?
Yeah.
Are they? I have no idea.
Wow. Big fan. But yes, the Oscars Academy Awards, both same name.
I have no idea.
Happened, and there was a ton of firsts, man. I mean, congratulations to all the winners, but I mean, Parasite.
Yeah.
I mean, Parasite, Bong Joon-ho.
Don't do it, man.
No, they absolutely swept it with Parasite. Best film, best director, best original screenplay as well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there you go. There's the first. Parasite being the first foreign language film to win Best Picture.
Yeah.
Overall, which
in a
is just
saturated
amazing.
market of American film studios and the occasional Taika Waititi that comes in every now and then. Even he's on the list, but I'll let you.
Yeah,
I was
going to say that
this article.
That's the next one on my list. Was congratulations to 2C3 Pod podcast favorite
Tiki
Wiki. Tiki,
Yeah.
we now need to say every time he's in the news, which is very frequent because the man's busy as hell. Yep. We now need to say Academy Award winner Tiki Wiki.
Yes, absolutely. We'll have to write that one down.
Because the first person of Maori descent to win an Oscar, which is just incredible. So, I mean, hands down to him for Best Adapted Screenplay. Jojo Rabbit Man, get on and see that, man.
I know.
It's
I still
so good.
But you think about that too, in the sense that he's the first Maori person to win an Oscar of this kind of caliber, or an award of this kind of caliber, essentially, in the film industry. Most of Australia's best actors are New Zealand. It's the fact that this guy can't get away with the fact that he's Maori, so he can't play it off as, he moved to Australia and now he's Australian and he's a famous Australian. No, he's pulling it together for New Zealand, and I think it's great because I've got New Zealand family.
Exactly,
and it's good to see someone from
shout out to Dylan's family. We'll see you in April.
Yeah, they'll meet you very soon.
Yeah.
It's good that somebody from that far deep south, essentially, on this planet is getting that recognition.
Absolutely.
I mean, not that it hasn't happened before. Like, obviously, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings are all filmed there.
No, that's right, exactly. But to the degree of somebody who has the heritage of the native island, you know, like, in that's the big thing. Yes, Russell Crowe, we know, like, he's a Kiwi, but he's Aussie, but he can pull that off. You know? Whereas Taika Waititi, I mean, you can't deny his heritage. Yeah. Exactly, that's right.
And I think he's doing amazing things for his heritage, and especially in the American film industry.
He's only doing good, man. Like, big time. And not only, he's killing it behind the camera and in front of it as well.
Yeah, at the same time.
Exactly. I don't know how he's balancing it. It's insane. But also, there was the first award presenter with Down syndrome.
Really?
The Peanut Butter Falcon. Yeah,
you mentioned that last week.
Yeah, because it's playing currently at Avoca Beach.
Yes, it is.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I remember you said, these are the options for this week, and obviously we had our pick, which we'll get to later in the episode, which you would have seen in the title. But then I thought, I'm not saying Peanut Butter Falcon something rather.
Yeah, but it's Shia LaBeouf and
but I didn't
Zach
look it up.
Gottstigan. That's his name. Yeah.
I didn't look up to see what the movie was about.
Oh, really?
You know, I
so
was
just because I remember I sent that to you, and we discussed it on the podcast, but you clearly forgot, and you were just like, "I'm not seeing that," and I'm like, "Come on,
it's probably good." And
no, exactly,
turns out
it's doing all right. But moving on from that,
cool.
Sorry,
Wait, are you going down this article? All right, yes, you are. I am on the right one. Okay, so the first time a land acknowledgement has taken place at the Oscars.
Yes.
Oh, that's also Tiki Wiki as well.
Exactly, but that also stems from the NBA did that recently. Patty Mills, who's an Australian Aboriginal basketball player.
Yep.
They did the land acknowledgement for the first time ever in an NBA game.
Yep.
You know how they say we acknowledge the owners of this land.
The traditional custodians of this land.
Yes,
I hear that a lot at school assemblies in Australia.
Yeah. That's pretty damn cool, and that's Tiki Wiki breaking more ground, man.
Yeah.
But the first Netflix original film to win an award from Marriage Story, Laura Dern won Best Supporting Actress.
Which is strange because that movie, not that I've seen it yet, it's definitely on my list, my list on Netflix to watch it.
Yeah.
I've seen nothing but amazing things from Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson's performance in that film in terms of like how those lines were delivered and just their acting in general.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see someone like Laura Dern, who I wasn't really familiar with until Star Wars The Last Jedi. I've seen a million movies of hers prior.
Of course you have. Yeah.
But then as soon as that movie came out, I was like, hold on a minute, I recognize her. And then it's like buying a new car and then you see that car everywhere. You know, as soon as I saw her in a film and I was like, hold on a minute, she's in everything.
Yeah, no, that's right.
And she's good in everything.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. No, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
but
what
also,
a handsome woman in that film.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, come on. Also, Brad Pitt.
He did it. He takes home his first Oscar for acting.
He did it, man.
We've talked about this before.
He did it.
A lot of things we talk about previously, but Brad Pitt isn't just a pretty face, and neither is his ex Angelina Jolie, and they are both actual actors.
And see, it's amazing that this one didn't have the hype. It's amazing that this one didn't have the hype behind it that Leo had for years.
Yeah.
Oh, he keeps getting snubbed. Whereas Brad wasn't getting nominated like ridiculous amounts.
I don't think he was putting in as much of an effort in the way that Leo was making like a bombshell after bombshell after bombshell of film in a row. Brad Pitt's always done good things, but probably not as of late.
Yeah.
You know, like back the Fight Club days, you know, when he was at Ocean's 11, you know, back then sort of when he was at the height of his career.
Yes.
And he's been, I wouldn't say he's been coasting, but it seems like he's been doing less frequent films.
He hasn't been doing the like straight outright, oh, that's Oscar worthy. Yeah. You know, like those types of films. Like Leo was doing like The Wolf of Wall Street, Revenant. Like,
have you seen Revenant?
I'm sure I have. Yeah.
It's a movie
he
can't
fights
forget.
A bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Great film.
Sorry, I've got a burp coming, but it's just not there yet. But
I'm glad I didn't choke on that chunk of ice I just drank.
My apologies. But there was another one. I don't have the name here because why would you not put the name there? But
because it's a woman, the first woman to conduct an Oscars orchestra.
Yeah,
there it is.
No, that's not the one I'm getting at. The person who won, the woman who won Best Original Score for Joker.
Oh, right.
That was the first woman to win Best Original Score.
And the
name's not here. I clicked to the link of who won. And
isn't that her name?
No, she conducted the orchestra.
Yeah, but what are you saying?
Won an Oscar for Best Original Score.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
for
don't
Joker.
have that one here. I just I can't see it anyway. Anyway,
yes,
I'm closing that article because I don't know how to read it.
No, that's totally fine. But either way, there was a ton of firsts. Parasite absolutely murdered it. Joaquin won, of course, as he did.
Yes.
Brad Pitt first Oscar. I mean, it was a fantastic show in my opinion. But I mean, Netflix got snubbed though. There was no in the film department because they were nominated. They took home 2, I believe, for Laura Dern and then somebody else, but they were nominated like 22 times.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So they got a lot of nominations and they were kind of just had to pick out the bunch. Yeah,
but I mean, it was a pretty damn good year for film, which is awesome. So
I do want to bring it back around to Parasite though, because there was one thing that you had on the list here regarding Parasite and his Oscar-winning speech that he gave. So the director, let's have a quick look so I don't get this wrong.
This was when he won Best Screenplay, because remember he was up there for Best Director, Best Film, Best Screenplay,
which is great.
Exactly,
but I'm just going to read it here. So the director for Parasite, Bong Joon-ho, at the 2020 Oscars. Destruction of America.
Yeah.
Over a tweet or the way he presented his speech because he said it in his native language.
Yeah. Now, this asshole, John Miller.
John Miller at Miller Stream, you cunt.
Yeah, exactly. He's a Blaze TV, whatever the hell that is. He's a host.
Yeah,
but he tweeted out, a man named Bong Joon-ho wins Oscar for Best Original Screenplay over Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 1917. Acceptance speech was, great honor, thank you. Then he proceeds to give the rest of his speech in Korean. These people are the destruction of America. What the fuck?
When you showed me this article about a minute before recording, I wish that I hadn't seen it until recording because I just laughed.
Yeah.
Because, he knows 4 words in English.
Yeah.
He's a Korean director.
That's right. And not only that, like I said, he had to go multiple times.
Yeah.
So he had to probably, I'm not sure of his other speeches, but he might have had another couple of words that he learned, to make it different. But what do you expect?
Yeah.
This was historical. Yeah. Absolutely historical that a South Korean, any foreign language film, not only wins Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, but then you get him up on stage and expect him to talk like the rest of us?
Yeah.
Fuck off, John Miller.
Looking at this as well, I'm just looking at the article. I'm looking at the article from Market Watch. There are a few rebuttals.
Oh,
to what he said.
I can see
do
that.
Do they pay for your dumb takes, or is this something you do for fun?
Yeah, that's John Legend.
His speech was way more eloquent than what you just wrote.
Yep.
What I just said.
100%.
Xenophobia is a hell of a drug, but his response: these people are obviously not Koreans, but those in Hollywood awarding a foreign film that stokes flames of class warfare over 2 films, I thought they were more deserving. Yeah, that's your opinion.
No, that's exactly right. But also, you can't say something, these people are the destruction of America, and not expect 99% of the people to go, xenophobic bastard. How are we supposed to know that this was your, actual meaning behind that?
Yeah, how does liking a film, whether this won awards or not, how does enjoying a film and somebody, say for example, you won an award for a well-crafted Twitter post and somebody else said that's the destruction of a country.
Yeah.
No, Jong Boon-hoon, whatever his name is, put in 1,000 billion million times more effort into his film.
Yes.
Which is winning awards, created jobs, paid people.
Yeah.
Over what you just posted in your fucking personal opinion.
100%.
John Miller.
100%, yeah.
I know we're a podcast and we're all about opinions on what we feel about certain topics.
No, but
this guy, our opinion from 2C3 Pod is fuck you.
Big time, 100%, because whether you try and cover it up with your little stupid excuse, it's xenophobic, it's basically racism, just fuck off.
You're an idiot. Yeah. And people like you, I'd like to say, are destroying America. But the good thing is...
You are the destruction of America.
Yeah, but the great thing is there isn't enough people like him.
Yes, exactly, that's right.
He's the 1%, which...
He's the 1%, and then he'll get 90% of people absolutely roasting him, so we just did.
Yeah, absolutely.
So fuck that guy. Yeah. And that's the Oscars. Come and gone for another year, but lots of firsts. It's just... emphasizing the point that we made at the end of last year, that last year's film season year was spectacular.
Fucking stellar. And one of the biggest years in cinematic history. And
absolutely.
I know we're still only in February. We're well into 2020, but this year is looking pretty good too. They're definitely a different breed of films this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So far.
Yeah, I haven't gotten those big feel Oscar-worthy movies yet, but we're getting a lot of big feel movies though.
Yeah, absolutely. But speaking of big feel movies, now next on the list we've got something that was quite exciting, but also quite on the fence about how I feel about it, really. Okay. And every week there's always a bit of MCU news because it's pop culture and it's what we do.
Of course.
And I know you're not a huge fan of superhero films, but I like to catch up with them. I haven't seen Birds of Prey.
No, neither of us have.
Movie. I've heard it's great. I've heard it's good.
I've only heard good things, but like I said to you off air, I'm okay that we're not doing it because everybody else is doing it. And we got to see a very obscure movie that doesn't come around every week.
Yeah, that's right. Movies like Harley Quinn do come around almost every week.
Exactly.
Because it is your run-of-the-mill superhero-based film that people recognize now. So that's fine. You can go see it, and I might still this week sometime just to... because I'm intrigued now.
No, that's right. And we can still see it in our personal time, and it's not going to be our review that week, you know?
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Because when you hear us talk about our actual film, you can hear how much we fucking...
We can just say it, man. It's in the title that they clicked on. Color Out of Space. Nick Cage on the big screen. Yeah. But we're going to get into that.
Yeah. But Doctor Strange in the news for the multiverse of madness after Scott Derrickson was booted.
Yes.
A friend of his... which when we say friend, probably some kind of mentor and someone to him. Sam Raimi is in reports to, it's not official, but take over the directing reins of Doctor Strange #2.
Now we've got to remember with this one, so they were trying to push this as a bit of a horror-ish film, yes?
Yes, that's correct. So now we're having a few more tones, and Scott Derrickson was apparently booted because he wanted to go a few extra steps beyond what Marvel will allow.
So that to me, that confuses me in the sense that is Sam Raimi just a company guy now where he's like, I can do that for you, you know? Because he's the creator of Evil Dead.
I know.
He knows how to push those boundaries. So I'm not sure
that's
how to feel about this in the sense that is he going to...
Well, that's what I mean.
Company line?
The last time he worked for Marvel, essentially, was Spider-Man.
I know, exactly. I was going to say, don't forget he does have superhero experience in these types of films. So,
absolutely. Go, and if you're ever confused about Sam Raimi, the director who did a superhero film, go watch Spider-Man 2, the scene where Dr. Octopus is getting his claws surgically removed.
Yeah, right.
And then they come alive. That's straight out of Evil Dead. That scene is straight out of Evil Dead. But
100%.
To do the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, the fact that they're still going down the horror route, I think Sam Raimi, I think he's a good choice because we know he's talented.
Yes.
And he can make
100%.
films and he can make great films in a very unique style.
I'm not sure about his producing credentials, though, based on a film I saw.
Yeah, not so much. I mean, but anyway, we can talk. That's a whole topic for another day.
No, I know.
But the reason that I'm a bit skeptical about this, and I think most of the world is as well, is because we know what he has experienced when studio meddling gets involved with his creative process.
Yes.
He did not want to include Venom in Spider-Man 3 at all, and a lot of the elements that kind of ruin that film, and if they kept his original vision, they may have made 2 or 3 more sequels beyond that.
Yeah, which is so disappointing.
Because the studio heads did want to do so much more than he wanted to do, he had no choice, got paid for it, so for him to step in, especially with a cinematic company like Marvel and MCU owned by Disney, who definitely have their finger on the pulse. Like Kevin Feige has his finger on the pulse of every movie that they make.
Yes,
it's interesting to see how much creative freedom this man will have.
No, that's right.
And I would assume very little.
Exactly. I assume he's going in there to do a job, basically. And
somebody's got to get this done and I need a paycheck.
No, well, I'm sure he doesn't need a paycheck, but I mean, it would be a nice one coming from Marvel.
Yes.
That's for sure. But either way, Sam Raimi's still a big fan, though.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sure we'll still end up seeing this at some stage, you know.
Well, it's got me more curious because, Scott Derrickson and kind of horror film. Yeah, cool. Sam Raimi. Ooh.
Exactly. That's right.
So, that does have me interested.
Even if they are pushing the horror a little bit, we're still got to remember it's a Marvel film, so we can't expect our Saw level blood and violence and gore and stuff.
No, definitely not.
But
wouldn't that be good?
Oh, man, could you imagine that? Just superhero like bloodbath? Ooh.
Apparently Venom 2's finished filming.
Okay.
I don't have that as a note. But
hopefully that gets pushed to the harder MA15 plus rating.
Well, the main villain is supposed to be Carnage, which is...
Woody Harrelson.
Carnage, it's supposed to be ultra violent, so we shall see.
Fingers crossed. Again, I've got to stop drinking carbonated beverages.
That's why I don't.
No, I know.
Yeah.
My apology.
You okay?
My apologies.
Okay.
Anyway, we're back on it.
Yes. Another thing I wanted to bring up while we're still on the Marvel train very quickly, before we... this is going to be very quickly. Shoot. Yes. This is a thought I had on the way home from work for some reason. I think I heard something about Morbius. The Jared Leto, whatever film.
Yes.
You know, the Spider-Man films, up until this point, had a bad rap of repeating origin stories.
Yes.
Okay. And Sony, while still retaining rights to the Spider-Man villains, essentially, is that they're making a whole bunch of villain movies. Like you've had Venom, then you've got Morbius, then you've got Kraven the Hunter.
Yep.
The problem that I see coming from this is that everybody's going to look at these films and go, every single one of them is an origin story.
Yeah.
Like, we're sick of... Fair enough, they're not majorly cinematic popular characters and we haven't seen them in film before, but I think the right step would be is just to fucking make a film halfway through that character's lifespan.
Yep.
Jump straight in.
Okay.
This person's existed in this life for however many years.
Would you accept that if they still had mid-movie cutaways to past lives?
Yes, absolutely. But I saw the Morbius trailer and it shows shot for shot, okay, this is how he becomes Morbius the vampire. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I want to see what he's up to later because I've seen Spider-Man's fucking,
Yeah, I get that.
I've seen the MCU. Yeah. I've seen all of these origin stories. Yes, they will be different for each character, but I'm sick of fucking origin stories.
Yeah. I feel like Joker's going to ruin that for you for years to come.
Yeah, because nothing will top it.
It's so successful.
Yep.
You know, and there's going to be, over the next 2, 3, 4 years, a hell of a lot more, man.
Well, that's the thing. I thought about that. I was like, well, hold on. One of the best films was an origin story, but they weren't aiming to be an origin, were they?
That's right.
So I think that's why it worked so well. But go back and listen to the Joker tagged episodes. Yeah.
I was going to say probably everyone for like 15 in a row. But yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah. I get what you mean. Like, it's in the next evolution of Spider-Man in 10 years. Are we going to get to see Peter Parker going to school again as a regular kid and then all of a sudden gets bit by a spider and it's like, oh, I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah, like we've seen that 100 times.
Yeah, exactly.
We get it. We don't need the origin of the Goblin. We don't need the origin of anybody else. Just say, for example, Spider-Man's been doing this thing and this other dude has been underground and he hasn't noticed for 10 years.
It would be really cool. Shit. It would be really cool to see a Morbius movie and just literally you're into the middle of him just killing bitches and shit.
That's what I'm about. Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah,
that makes total sense and probably
spice it up a bit.
Probably even more appealing. But yeah. Anyway, moving on to other news. Now, like we mentioned, we have a Nicolas Cage review later in the episode. But there is also another Nicolas Cage production underway, and it's a horror film, and it looks yes. Now, so exciting.
I did want to add this to the notes last week. But I'm not sure whether it was before or after recording. It was very close though.
Yep.
So I'm glad you've put it in this week because Wally's Wonderland is the title of the film, reported by Bloody Disgusting, which is pretty much where I get most of my horror news from. Like most of the topics that I have for these videos, I'm like, wait a minute. This whole episode's about horror stuff. I better start looking into other things.
Exactly. It's Bloody Disgusting and IGN.com. Those are like our two main sources for the news. Yeah. Yes.
I try my best not to go to IGN.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another day.
Okay.
Wally's Wonderland, which pits Nicolas Cage against animatronic monsters begins filming.
Hell yeah.
Animatronic monsters.
Hell yeah. Now this is so cool to me. Now, have you heard of Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes, everody is.
I feel like this.
Freddy's.
Yeah, no, of course. But basically, I feel like this is going to be in that vein.
Okay.
But as in a horror movie with Nick Cage, which is way better. You know?
I'm having a look down here. One of a comment from one of the creators. Yep. I can't see who it is. You might be able to find it for me. But the comment here is, I see this movie as Pale Rider versus Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space, stop right now and go watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space, because as ridiculous as that movie may be, it is totally watchable.
It is fantastic.
It is great.
And I feel like it's like a fine wine and it gets better with age.
Oh, yeah.
100%. But do you know what Pale Rider is?
No, I don't.
Clint Eastwood Western.
Oh, it's excellent.
Yeah, exactly. Clint Eastwood Western mixed with Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
And that... And the fact that there's going to be animatronics in this.
Yes.
There may be a bit of CGI sort of editing.
Oh, of course there will
sort of here and there, whatever. I don't care.
Is that shot at the beginning of the article from this film?
No, this is from Mandy. This is from the previous Nicolas Cage sort of crazy film, Mandy, which I'm yet to see, but after watching Color Out of Space...
I know. I want to go on a binge of him.
I know. Especially Mandy. It's been on the top of my to-watch list since it came out.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been on a streaming service, and I see it on the shelf at JB Hi-Fi every time I go, and I'm just like, do I want to splash my cash on something I haven't seen yet? But then I think, if this was 20 years ago, of course I would.
Exactly, that's right. But you've got other priorities now.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly. But either way, after seeing him on the big screen, and then this getting announced, and the concept behind it, man, I am all about this.
And going off what you said earlier about Five Nights at Freddy's, is that this is set to battle animatronic monsters in an amusement park.
Well, that's what Wally's Wonderland.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing title. I just think that title jumps out at you straight away. So we've got Wally's Wonderland, we've got Nicolas Cage in an amusement park against animatronic monsters, and it's a horror.
Yes.
Fuck yes.
Yes.
100%.
Sign me
Yes.
up.
Sign me up. Don't put this on a service. Take it to the big screen again, because he is still very worthy of that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, over the years, we've all heard about Nicolas Cage and how he, his financial troubles, where he had to step back and just do a whole bunch of sort of lesser budget movies.
He had to sell his castle, man.
Oh no, Paul Bugger.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, but the fact is, I'm pretty sure because it was his ex-wife was just like suing him for like literally everything.
I'm not sure, but either way, he bought like a $10 million castle and then didn't realize you need to basically pay $100,000 a year
to keep it up. Yeah,
exactly. And he didn't do that, and he was like, "Oh fuck, well, I guess I'll sell it."
Yeah, but despite his personal life, he's still a fantastic actor when given the right roles, and
I feel like he's embraced that I'm Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Because of how people have perceived him as, is he good? Is he bad? Is he crazy? Is he normal? Is he acting? Is it real? Like, because of that, I feel like he's embraced that and it's now his style.
I don't think he's crazy, though.
No. I reckon if you sat down with him, he would be able to have a conversation like a normal person.
He knows exactly what the world perceives him as, and he knows exactly what kind of roles he's taking.
And he has embraced it, as we saw in Color Out of Space, and we'll get to, but like the way he acts, that is so intentional.
Yes.
There is no way.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
We'll get there. Hold on. We've got about 10, 15 minutes and then we'll get there.
Yeah, but Wally's Wonderland,
Yes.
look out for that one if you're into crazy Nicolas Cage fighting animatronic monsters in a theme park films. Thank you, Bloody Disgusting, for reporting on that.
Yes.
We'd love to convey that message.
Thank you, Nicolas Cage, for being you.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Never
Moving
change.
on. Speaking of big screen.
Yes. Ooh,
Later in this year.
You threw me off there a little bit.
Yeah, later in the year, we have a return to the big screen for a particular franchise that I'm a little bit familiar with.
Yeah, speaking of horror films, we all...
I don't care.
We should just have a horror podcast.
I was going to say... no, but see, if we have a horror podcast, these episodes with the news are now all of a sudden 10 minutes.
That's right. Just like, change the podcast. Change it to horror.
Yeah, exactly.
Strictly horror. Anyway.
2's company, 3's dead.
Yes.
Yes. But coming to the big screen, we have the reboot, reimagining, recreation.
No. Spin-off, essentially.
Okay.
But not the kind of spin-off that you know and love, or you used to, I should say.
I was going to say.
Yeah. So now we'll talk more about this in Friday's episode in Trailer Park. But we do have a brand new trailer for Spiral from the Book of Saw.
I'm that title alone has me goosebumped and ready to go.
Yeah. And I felt the same way when they finally called the previous one Jigsaw and not Saw.
Yes.
Because the Saw name, we've talked about this, but let's do it again. Saw 1 and 2 for me, fantastic films.
Fucking amazing films. The first one is... It's not a horror film, people.
No.
The first one is a psychological thriller.
It's a puzzle box.
The second one... Darren Lynn Bousman, who's returning for Spiral, is amazing. The second one, that's where they get the horror elements in, but it's still a very good psychological thriller.
And it shows that continuation. But the problem I have with 3 to however many there are now is that it got to the point where they were casting women from that Scream Queens,
the reality show.
That just goes to show how saturated and
5 it was.
It goes to show how manufactured that franchise became, and that's why I can't watch those movies. The story sucked, 100%. The traps suck, and it was all just so fake. Nothing was from the heart.
It was fake, and it spawned. I'm sure the term was already around, but really pioneered the term, and not in a good way. Torture porn.
Yes, I was going to say that too.
Where it relied purely on those over-the-top, grotesque, like disgusting, make you gag moments.
And the reason they worked so well...
For lack of substance, lack of story.
The reason those kind of... And gore porn, essentially, or torture porn does work well in certain films when you care for the characters, like in... Saw 1 and 2.
100%.
But later on, like when there's a scene where a lady's dreaming and she's tied up and she's naked, and then there's this big contraption that just...
Oh, no. Okay.
I remember the ice one, but no, this is where this big machine just kind of runs into her and she just shreds her. And I was like, what the fuck? That's not a Saw trap. Like,
no, that's right.
It's crap.
And it especially, like, as in when the plot twists came with Amanda and stuff, and it started to become killing for fun as opposed to killing to learn.
Yeah.
And it started to lose a lot of its spirit, a lot of the original intention behind it.
Did so well for me is that about, like, if these people played their cards right and learned from their mistakes, they will survive and be better from it. That was the point.
Yeah,
but
100%.
After that, it was just like, hey, you're going to die in a horrific way because I don't like you for some reason.
No, that's exactly right.
But Spiral,
from the Book of Saw.
From the Book of Saw essentially is not a sequel or prequel or anything like that. It's from what I know, it's disconnected entirely, but it's set within that same kind of
same universe
story, essentially. It's like ripping pages out of a book and going, let's do this. It's like a separate story.
Yeah.
Produced by Chris Rock,
starring Chris Rock and
Samuel L. Jackson. And he even says, you want to play you want to play a game, motherfuckers? Quintessential.
Like I said off air, I went back to some of our old episodes and I was just cruising through episode 13. Yeah. That's when you first broke the news to me about Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Rock being in this.
Yes.
And that's where I said, I'm sick of these motherfucking puppets on these motherfucking tricycles. And then I was like, oh my God, that trailer just came out today, 7 months later, and he said motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Oh, when we first discussed, sorry, I'm still at a loss for words, but when we first discussed it, we were unsure of how to feel about this and all that. And now that I've seen a trailer and gotten a taste of it and seen Chris Rock playing that serious, I'm a detective, like he's not hamming it up or anything. And then you've got Sam Jackson being Sam Jackson. Man, I'm on board for this film.
This film looks like there's a lot of care and attention to this franchise.
Yes.
And that's what I feel that Jigsaw was missing. We watched it recently. I thought, it's a new film. It's been a few years. It's not called Saw. It's got to take a different route, but it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't at all. It's just big new traps. And that's what I fucking hated. I was like, it nearly had the potential.
Not only that, though,
this does.
with Jigsaw, minor Jigsaw review here. We're just getting into a little bit of that, but minor Jigsaw review. It was, for the first half, maybe 3/4, I was on board with it. I'm like, okay, this is still like the other Saws, but there's a bit more to it. It's not bad. As soon as that plot twist happened, I went, are you fucking joking?
That's right. I was switched off. I was like, I've seen this.
And it killed me for it.
I've seen this in the first 5 fucking movies. Like,
exactly.
I've seen this,
No, that's exactly right. And from, like you said, 3 to, I think, 7, and then Jigsaw was 8th. Those films, basically every plot twist was the same.
Yeah.
You could see it coming a mile away, and then when it happened, you were like, okay, cool, good job.
Shame on me for...
No, that's exactly right. But I will say, though, I believe it was Saw 3 and 4, or it might be 4 and 5. The fact that you find out at the end... No, it was 3 and 4. And at the end of number 4, you find out that it's running the exact same parallel time as number 3.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, they got me with that one, you know?
So there is a few sort of little hidden gems in these pile of crap.
Of course there are, but they became just money makers and that. I will say this is freaking me out that we're going to have a Saw film coming out in May.
Yeah.
Saw has only ever come out Halloween.
Yeah. Well,
Halloween weekend.
That makes me feel that this is more...
No, I know. It's going to be more of a film.
A film. Rather than just a...
No, I know. But
get everybody in the seats.
Just for me, like a big fan of the franchise and that, I've got Billy's face on my hand, you know. It's just weird that I'm going to be going to see a Billy-based Jigsaw fucking movie in May. Like, that's... Ugh.
And that's cool because you won't have October teenage audiences going, oh, it's the latest horror film.
That's right. I bet you $5 it comes out school holidays.
yeah. But in saying that too, that gives me hope that we might even one day get some other weird producer out of nowhere come out and make a new Paranormal Activity with some attention and heart and passion.
Substance,
yes. Because 1 and 2, I will say, are good. After that... Anyway.
Yes. But that's a story for another day.
Yes.
All right.
Anyway.
One more bit of news in the film world this week.
Yeah, I did want to say this very quickly. Yeah. So research reveals that Danny Trejo, how would you pronounce his name?
I was talking about George Miller.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yes, George Miller.
I was going to say, jump onto that first.
Yes, George Miller. So the creator of the Mad Max franchise.
Of course.
And almost creator of Justice League Mortal, where Megan Gale was nearly Wonder Woman, Armie Hammer was nearly Batman. Would have been awesome.
Yeah.
He's keeping Australian film alive and well as he's planning to direct Mad Max 5.
Absolutely. That sounds fantastic. Mad Max 5 Wasteland.
Yes, absolutely. Coming in autumn 2020. Now, we all know that the previous Mad Max starring Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron being a bit of a departure from what the previous films were because they were so many years prior and different casting, of course. I think it was a good film on its own. I wouldn't look at this as a continuation. It does definitely, for me, it didn't feel like it.
Yep, no, that's fair.
But the film itself was fine, and I'm hoping that they go in a similar direction for the next one because it was good.
Yeah, absolutely. No, 100%. And not only that, it was like a visually stunning film.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it won like 7 Oscars.
Yeah.
Like in that year. But either way, man, the fact that it's coming, the first one came out in 1979.
Yes.
So the fact that this is still going and keeping up to par with how good they are.
Yeah.
And he's still coming to Australia. Fuck yeah. All about it.
I also wish that this was almost like a sequel with Mel Gibson 20 years later. Being like the old grizzled man that he is, returning to that character would have been good.
Man, that sounds so appealing, but we've seen with them trying to bring back those old people in the past in other franchises, like, it may not be a good idea.
It would have been cool.
Oh, yeah.
But absolutely. I don't think it would have banged because Mel Gibson isn't any kind of Tom Hardy anymore.
No, that's right. He does straight to DVD like cop crime films now, you know, like so. But either way, George Miller, thanks for keeping Australia relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the interesting things about the making of that film, Mad Max Fury Road, as well, is I found out that they did plan to film it in some kind of outback Australian area.
Yeah,
but it hadn't had rain in like 20 or something years, some ridiculous length of time. And all of a sudden, right before shooting, it rained and sprouted all these beautiful flowers and grass grew, and it kind of ruined their post-apocalyptic setting, and they had to move filming to a completely different country.
You could just imagine somebody being beheaded in a field of poppies. You know,
it was like, oh, such a lovely place.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a lovely place where nothing lives or grows. Just ignore the flowers. Yes. Yeah, no, but did it end up getting filmed like in the Middle East or South Africa or something?
I can't quite remember. I definitely know that it was planning to film in Australia,
but they had to move
out.
Yeah, but either way, that's awesome. And filming, like you said, starts late 2020.
Yes, absolutely. And one more little thing I did want to just sprinkle in at the very 100%. End. So Danny Trejo? How do you pronounce it?
I say Danny Trejo. I say Trejo.
There's no I in
I know.
Yeah, okay.
I know. That's just what I say. I know you're listening, Danny. Let us know.
Yeah, Danny Trejo has topped the record for the most killed actor in Hollywood, overtaking Christopher Lee.
Well done, Danny. Well done.
Now, to take that, because, Danny Trejo